There are several different ways to insert components into an assembly, and I'm going to go over all of them. The first thing I want to do is open up all three of these parts. So it's going to be 2.21.1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to start with whatever part I want to be the base, or the part that's not going to move inside of my assembly. So in this case here, I'm going to choose the 0.1 part. Go over here, click on it, and my favorite way to create an assembly is just to go up to File, Make, Assembly from Part. Click on that. It's going to ask us for a template. I'm going to choose the Lynda assembly template, but it doesn't matter which assembly template you choose. Click on OK, and here's my new assembly. Now over here on my left hand pane, I can see I've got these available open documents already pre-selected. I've got that same part 2.21.1 already selected. Click on OK, and that's going to drop that right into the assembly. Now notice the origin here happens to also be exactly in the same location as the origin of the part. So what that does is when it brings it in to the assembly, it puts them on the exact same origin. Notice the little F in front of the name, meaning it is fixed. Now if you right click on that, you can also go and click on float, which will allow it to be moved around in the assembly, but then you're going to need to go back and mate it together or fix it in space so it knows where it is. But generally you want to have at least one part in your assembly fixed. Whenever you start an assembly from a part, it's always going to be the very first part you bring into the assembly. Now once you have a part, I can go up to Window, Tile Horizontally, and then I can drag and drop these components into my assembly. So I can grab this little pyramid, drag it in, I can grab this sphere, bring it in, and then expand that window. So you can see I have everything there. I can move them around. I can't move this first block here. It can't be moved because it's fixed. But notice these other two just have a little minus sign showing they're unconstrained and they're free to move about. Now I can start adding mates to the assembly here to define where things are. But if I wanted to bring in more parts, I have a couple other options how to do that. So I can go up here to Assembly, I can click on Insert Components, or I can click on the drop down. I can actually create a brand new part inside of the assembly. I can insert components and create a whole nother assembly, a bunch of options. So if I click on Insert Components, it just allows me to choose one of these available open documents, or I can browse and find another document I want to open. So that's one option. The other option is over here on the right, I can open up the design library and I can drag in features or parts or even other assemblies from my design library. If I come down here to my File Explorer, I can take a look at all of my recent documents that I've been using, or even bring in samples, or take a look at the open documents I have in SOLIDWORKS. So all those are available, and I can just drag and drop one of those into my assembly to very quickly build an assembly with a bunch of components. The other options I have for creating more parts in my assembly, if I want to just duplicate one of the individual parts that's in the assembly, is I can hold down Control, click on the item itself, and then just drag out a copy. That creates an exact copy of the part inside of my assembly. And you can see over here on the left that I have two of the .2 parts. So that's the basic for creating assembly and bringing in components for the assembly.